All right, Eli Sereno, John Wilkes Booth. Wow, what a character. The young man, the beautiful son of Chuck, the composer. You know, you're a very broad actor. You can play a lot of different things. I mean, Bigfoot, John Wilkes Booth.
Well, how'd you know about Bigfoot?
How do you do it?
Yeah, that's true. At the same time, while we were filming Dynamite and Davenport, I was in another movie with Jim Wynorski and my dad where I played Bigfoot. So going back and forth through to John Wilkes Booth and then Bigfoot, it was interesting. But on the same hand, these are both my first acting gigs ever. So I just kind of wung it in both cases. And that doesn't count the other movie that me and my dad are also putting together.
I'm sorry, I have to intervene here. You mean you're doing this big budget spaghetti western, you're just wonging it? I mean, seriously, I'm like, oh my God.
Well, I mean,
this is what actors, oh my God, that is so amazing. Just please explain, I don't exactly understand.
Talking about the context of the character helped, you know, and the fact that it was a historical character instead of just a made-up one helped because I was able to research a real person and totally integrate that into the insanity of this character, the total narcissism as well. And maybe there's a little element of that in myself, so that helped.
And speaking of which, when Errol asked you to cut that hair, when you said no way, tell us a little bit about that conversation.
Oh yeah, right. So the morning of that last day of the shoot, you know, it had been maybe 2 months in between shoots, and I was concerned about the hair, but I knew it just wouldn't really, it would play fine on camera in the end, so Errol asked me to cut my hair, and I was like, hell no. That didn't happen. I offered to cut my hair, and he said no, so it was fine.
Well, how did this opportunity come to be? I mean, take us back to that. How
Yeah,
did that happen?
Yeah. Well, Errol is, as you know, and has a wide variety of
say
assets.
amazing. I mean, he's right here.
He is an amazing director, producer, person, prop manager as well, along with Chris over here. But we were, me and my father are working on a movie called Pandementia. It's a science fiction thriller, and we asked Errol to kindly be in the movie with us. And so I had never met him before, and he came and was in our movie, and he was like, you look like the guy I need. And then he called me up randomly and said that I should play John Wilkes Booth in this Western, to which I said, yes, thank you. And I just went for it. You know, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
This was a big part, man. I mean, to really be your first movie where you're on camera in a lot of different scenes, a lot of big hills to climb, a lot of dialogue with some really experienced actors. Tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, there was a lot of dialogue, especially that monologue section there in the beginning, or the first cabin scene. My technique, and I know, you know, I'm very experienced here, so everyone should listen to me, right? But I just memorized the lines and didn't care what they meant, and then later kind of figured out what they meant. So it was kind of just motor, muscle memory, and then adding the emotion happened once I had the muscle memory down, and it worked out. So hopefully we'll see, right?
Yeah. So playing John Wilkes Booth, I mean, you said you did some research on the actual person.
Right.
You know, what kind of research did you do? I mean, what did you take from him and inject it into this character?
Well, it was interesting because, you know, it's an expanded truth, this story, right? So somehow John Wilkes Booth ends up in the West after he murdered the president in, I think it was Pennsylvania, right? It's been a while. But yeah, where was it? Georgia?
Virginia?
It was a theater in the East Coast. But finding out that he was an actor made it great too, because I could totally get away with overacting. You know, I didn't know what level to come forward with this, but I just went 100%. I knew John Wilkes Booth was an actor, and so he probably projected and made everything dramatic. So I went for that, and as well, I mean, he was a psychopath, so I mean, I just went for the psychopathic narcissist. But the research, you know, wasn't that hard. There's a lot of information on that guy. Some conspiracy theories as well out there, I've heard.
Mm. You also bring a pretty funny comedic element to it. I mean, there's a lot of this movie where it's serious, but it's also super funny. Was that your plan, to be funny? Because you are.
Well, I just wanted to be the biggest wimp in the room, you know, and hopefully that came across, but yeah, that was the goal, just to be as totally pathetic as possible, but at the same time make the audience not feel bad for me as much as hate me, you know.
Any advice from your co-stars, Chris, Rich, Ting?
Yeah.
Anybody pull you aside?
Oh, absolutely. I forgot to mention, you know, when it comes to Chris and Rich, being in the room with everyone and all these professionals as well, is amazing. It's an amazing experience, a learning experience. You know, Chris being off camera and in character, but not really in character, it was a really interesting experience. You know, I didn't know if people were being themselves or acting the whole time. There were people who I couldn't tell if they were acting or not. And it was just a real interesting dynamic there. And then learning from Rich, of course, you know, he's got a lot of experience with having the education and everything. And I got some notes, wrote them down in my head. And
Actually,
yeah.
I was wondering, what was the most complex scene that you did in this movie, and why? That evening.
The most complex scene in the movie. Well, I wouldn't say it was the monologue, because that just was dialogue. You know, I just went for it. I think the most complex one was the getting my face smashed through a table, because it involved many elements of movement and thought where I had to act like I was hurt and dying, but at the same time I needed to be an asshole narcissist, which is a really interesting mix. Yeah, dying, not easy.
Did it hurt when you got shot in the stomach? I mean, it looked pretty painful.
Good.
Anyway, what was it like working with Mara Hernandez, and who's the other one? Brooke Valise. What was it like working with them?
They were
the big
amazing.
Scene, yeah.
Aren't they amazing? They were really good. We practiced before, actually. We got together in a church and went over the lines, went over the blocking, and got it down. And I think that's why we were really comfortable with it. And I mean, they blew it out of the park. They did it perfect every time, right? And they were in these giant gowns that must have weighed like, I don't know how much they weighed, but it was very thick material. And they were fighting on stage, indoors, on a sunny day. It was not a comfortable situation, but incredible performance on both their parts.
Yeah, and then the kissing scene's obviously very extensive in the rehearsal.
Yeah, that was great.
All right, Daryl's saying cut. All right. Thank you, Eli.
You're welcome.
All right.
Yeah, in the rehearsal, we didn't practice that part.
Right, we saved that for the camera.
Right.
I get it. All
More
right.
genuine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's cut to the chase, shall we? Why are two gentlemen like you in my establishment?
They were two down and dirty bounty hunters looking to take down the bad guys.
They want to kill me! Help me!
Until the bad guys found them.
Who's chasing?
Yes, them, but Who the hell's them?
If you shoot to kill. Action. Suspense. And romance.
I'm doing a little undercover bounty work, Dynamite.
Chris Northup. Rich Ting. And Natalie Byrne in No Name and Dynamite Davenport.